Synchronicity is an interesting topic. Very interesting topic. Well, it's difficult to explain as well. Like most people associate, when they hear the term synchronicity, they associate that with numbers lining up on a clock. 111, 222, 333, so on and so forth. For me, well, that's the sort of thing that happens a dozen times a day. It's just forget it. it's a constant thing. For synchronicity, when I'm in those novelty peaks in the time wave, when I'm navigating those, just riding those waves, synchronicity is everything. It's everything. It's from the knock in the, from when your house expands and contracts. I hear those knocks. It's when a bird squeaks or squawks or whatever, flying overhead. It's the TV, the radio, the computer, anything going on the computer. It's everywhere. It's a constant conversation, and it's affirmation. You don't get, I don't get negatives through synchronicity. And well, I do, but that's my interpretation of them, you see, because everything can be interpreted in so many ways, negative to absolute negative to absolute positive. Synchronicity to me is it's a part of intuitive communication. It's like, I won't say confirmation. Confirmation is the confirmation of the negative, affirmation of the positive, is what I call it. So when I do interpret based in fear or out of fear, that fear is confirmed through experience. And on the other hand, when I interpret based on love, I get affirmations. My ideas are affirmed. And the universe being simple, is usually the simplest form of communication. There'll always be a single knock or a single bark from the dog next door or something like that. Or on the TV, it'll be something happy and joyful. It'll be a smile, perhaps, whatever. After having these things so often, every time, it's just constant, and it's always consistent. So, to most people, it's just a random event. Well, I don't believe there are random coincidences. Everything's a coincidence, but it's not random coincidence. It's all orchestrated coincidence. It all coexists in a beautifully orchestrated way. And it's all part of the way the universe teaches. Now, for me, understanding that the universe is very logical, it's a very logical thing. It follows the rules of logic, simplicity, efficiency, and first and foremost, sequence. It learns and teaches in sequence, which is something I found very important to understand as it relates to how well we learn, how quickly we learn, how quickly I learn. And sometimes that's lightning fast. I mean, when the intuition's there and the synchronicity is all going off like all over the place, it's ... connect. It's one after the other, bang, 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 huge ideas, just one after the other. It's an awesome thing too, because the feelings involved are crazy. I mean, you learn not to be emotional. It's just a necessity to not be emotional. Yeah? Without these things, you can't. You just never get anywhere. And you realise that emotions really, the more resistance I release, the more I learn, understand, become aware of what's going on in my surroundings, my environment, which includes the higher universal mind environment, the more I release that resistance, the less emotion I have, because I've come to realise that emotion really is a byproduct, a waste product, really, of inefficiency. I wouldn't necessarily call it a waste product, but it's a byproduct. It's produced by resistance to flow of energy, of thought. And even when it's, good emotions we call love and joy. Well, joy is not necessarily an emotion, but its expression may be an emotion. And that's still due to some form of resistance in the mind. And I've been losing that resistance. So emotion has been diminishing, some people would call me cold these days, the things I could entertain without any emotion whatsoever. Where normally I'm very empathic, I've been in court, and the guy behind me has been, trying to explain to the judge how he's been wronged and all this, and it almost made me cry. And I can still tear up when I see a beautiful scene in a movie. But when it comes to these experiences, the massive, intense experiences of intuition and synchronicity, you've got to be able to control your emotions somehow to limit them, and that does come naturally through the process. So synchronicity becomes a lot more noticeable too, and you're not caught in emotions and you can't sit there bawling your eyes out all day, because you're going to miss everything. Is that beautiful? And it continues to get better all the time. It's just more beautiful and more beautiful, and it's so perfect, and everything is so beautiful. You can't just waste away in emotions. But understand that there is no conversion of energy without some sort of resistance to the flow. This is what we're all created of, resistance, which is the fear-based polarity, the no principle, which is why it's such an important part of our creation and our reality. And there's no need to fear it. It's just who we are. We're made of it. We're made of yes and no's. And in order to understand the construction, understand our creation, we've got to understand those two principles and how they work and how they interact together, and the complexities, the structures, and even the complication, which doesn't serve us so well, but complication is part of that creation, that manifestation. Complication is actually what slows everything down into the more defined state. Complication is quantity over quality. It's force over power. Again, acceptance, allowance, inclusion. We've got to accept and allow these things to be, so we can gain something from them. We can't just reject them and shut them out. We'll never learn what we're here to learn. And how to set the boundaries of our experience, so we don't have to suffer as much as we do. That's all part of the process. We've got to create the right boundaries, put things in the right sequence, and understand and reinforce those boundaries. Put them where they don't hurt so much. But obviously I'm getting off topic. This was about synchronicity. Now, I've tried a lot of ways to explain, to understand synchronicity. One involves reverse time and an orchestration of consciousness throughout the universe, as well as the determination theory, the script that we're following in reverse order. It seems like we're going backwards in time sometimes, or maybe in this larger cycle there's a reverse cycle, and we've already, it's like if we'd written the script in the opposite direction, then in the direction we're going, it's already been predetermined that this is going to happen at such and such a time. It could all be put in place. That's one way of looking at it. And reverse time seems to be a reality. I get a lot of ideas about reverse time and growing younger. How about that? because understand, I mean, what is aging? It's a calcification process, isn't it? It's a solidifying. We can stop that if we get out of fear, and even cause it to go backwards. And I feel physically, I feel like I've reversed the aging process. Time will tell. There are things I can't fix, like this blocked nose that I need to have surgically fixed. But otherwise, everything seems to be running backwards. I'm feeling better than I ever did before. It's all a reflection of the mind. See, as people age and they hold on to beliefs, and those beliefs, they solidify in their mind. They become invested in those. It's harder and harder to let them go the longer we invest in those set positions. And that reflects throughout our body. Our body starts to solidify as well. It becomes rigid and, like an old body, it can't move. It loses its flexibility, loses its vitality. It becomes stagnant and becomes poisonous. It's all just a reflection of the mind, and a mind that's held rigidly by its standing in belief, in fact, in knowledge, in its investment, resting on its laurels. In an ever-evolving, moving environment like the universe, well, that's death, isn't it? And this is the way we're brought up. This is the way we're taught. We're taught to become rigid and immovable objects throughout our lives, through school, through traditions, routine, through the repetition, the cycles of the clock. It's like the clock. We get up, we go to work, we come home, we do the same thing every day. We don't have time for anything else. That's a cycle, a circle, an infinite loop that goes around and around and around, never expanding, never growing. And there are many, many clocks, not just the one that gets us up every morning. Everything is in this world is a clock. The frequencies, the radio waves, the phone signals, they're all clocks in a way, and they all influence us in that way. On different levels, on different speeds of vibration, different frequencies. That's why I don't use a microwave, because I don't want my body system set to the microwave clock, unless I'm, things are getting too intense, and that's what I do, use a microwave to slow things down. It's a form of grounding. It's like grounding to the earth with your bare feet, just brings you down to that median point, so you find your balance again. What else can I say about synchronicity? It's just everywhere. Not all the time. Perhaps not so much right now. I still get plenty of the clock stuff, Many times a day I look at the clock, just, without thinking about it, and there they are, 3 digits all lined up. And I take those as affirmations, because that's what I get, affirmations. I don't get confirmations. Confirmations would be stubbing my toe after I've had a negative thought. Synchronicity started out, my first experience, to be a box with a label on it, lying on the floor on a shelf somewhere. And the second I look at it, what I'd be thinking, what I'd be going through my mind, it's just the word would just scream out at me, and I'd go, yes, that's it, thank you very much. So there are often clues in that sort of synchronicity. It all depends where my mind's at the time. If I'm in my highest joy and I'm looking at the biggest picture for the greatest purpose, which is not necessarily for myself, little things like, can I make some money off of this or whatever. The higher the purpose, the more abundant and joyful the whole thing, all the synchronicity and the whole experience is. Yeah, that'll do for now.